The best of the best. 2 years in a row. You're listening to the Bethpage Best of Long Island Best Radio Station.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC HD Garden City.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and on the WHPC app.
90.3 WHPC.
.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box, here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am your co-host, Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother and co-host and award-winning sports writer also, Timothy J. Leonard. Hello, Timothy J. How are you?
Good morning, brother. I'm
How are you?
outstanding as usual.
And welcome to another edition of this fine show. We are part of the Sports Talk family, which is every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and also an additional show every Tuesday night at 11 p.m. And we're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The show becomes a podcast later on if you want to listen to it again, or if you just can't listen to the whole show, or if you just love it because you like Timmy and I. So anyway, I'm not sure where to start, brother. I mean, start off with the Knicks. The Yankees. The Yankees are doing well now. You know,
Knicks. Go Knicks, man.
Go Knicks. You sure
The
about
Knicks,
the Knicks?
last of the playoffs.
Okay, well, yeah, they are the last team. Well, the Devils are still.
No, that was done.
Oh, the Devils are done. Okay.
Devils were done the night before the Knicks were done.
Okay.
So the Knicks were the last team standing. Not that it really mattered.
Yeah, well. Anyway, it would have been nice, though, if they had won. Because they would have went through the heat, which is, even though the rivalry isn't what it was, it's still a rivalry. They would have played the Celtics, which there's a great history of the Knicks-Celtics rivalry over the years.
True.
And if they made it to the finals, Los Angeles maybe?
Could have been the Lakers or could have been the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are winning the title this year. And I'm a little bit sick that the Lakers have actually gotten to the Western Conference.
Well, they could have been. I mean, they're playing well.
They are playing well.
The thing about the playoffs is,
they're awful.
It's you have to be hot in the playoffs, no matter how great your season was.
Yes. You need a hot goalie.
Hot goalie or a hot shooter. And it would have been nice if the Knicks had gone through that because they didn't play bad, but they just
they did. They played bad.
Well, they
did.
They didn't play good.
The Knicks were
There's a
exposed.
difference.
You don't know how angry I am at the Knicks.
Why?
Because they were disgusting. The only guy who played in the entire series was Jalen Brunson.
Right.
And today will be the last day I kick myself over how wrong I was about Jalen Brunson when the Knicks signed him. He was worth every dime. He is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the few guys that they absolutely need to keep. Not that he's going anywhere.
Right.
But when I look at this team, I don't look at a team that's close. I look at a team that almost needs to be blown up.
No, they can't.
Because
do that.
I would.
If you're gonna blow them up, you might as well get rid of Thibodeau.
I would look to trade Julius Randle. I would look to trade R.J. Barrett.
And you loved R.J. Barrett when they first signed him.
He's like I said last week, brother. He's a passenger. He's not a guy who is going to lead your team to a title, and that's what you need from a number 3 pick. Now that draft was supposed to be 3 guys and the rest.
Right.
And it's quickly turning into no guys and the rest. And we'll talk a little bit about Ja Morant later. But Zion hasn't made an impact the way he should because he's been hurt way too much. Ja Morant has made an impact, but now his future in the NBA is starting to be questioned because of some very questionable decisions that he's made personally. He's torpedoing his own career. And R.J. Barrett, who was supposed to be the third of those 3, and the Knicks were supposed to be fortunate to have gotten the 3rd spot, so they got one of those 3, he's a passenger. He scores, yes. Does he score points? Yes, he does. He didn't score in Game 6. Didn't score anything considerable. He's 1 for 10 from the field.
Right.
That you're talking about a game for your life. Your season's survival is at stake. Jalen Brunson scored 41 points. The Knicks as a team scored 92 points. And I'll throw one more stat at you, brother. Jalen Brunson, I'll do this from the other side. The Knicks made 27 shots as a team. That's all, first of all. Jalen Brunson made 14 of those. So he made more than half of his team's baskets in the game.
Okay.
Julius Randle in that game, and I know he was dealing with an ankle injury. I'm not going to sit here and say that Randle was 100% because he wasn't. But he's not somebody who shows up in playoff games, or that's what he's shown in the last few years. But he was 3 for 14. Barrett was 1 for 10.
Not good.
And then talked about after the game how he wasn't pleased with his performance. Who's going to be pleased with 1 for 10?
Well, at least he was honest with himself.
It's garbage.
He didn't blame it on anyone, did he?
It doesn't matter. You need to perform in those games. Your season is on the line. You can't go 1 for 10. So that's that. I mean, Jalen Brunson can't, like Embiid was saying after the press conference after Game 7 when the 76ers were humiliated by the Celtics. He said, I can't win alone. Well, Jalen Brunson can't win alone either. 7-footers got more chance of winning alone than a 6-foot point guard.
Well, yeah.
So, yes, was can you look at this season and say it was a successful season for the Knicks? Yes, it was. Can you say that the Knicks have fans feeling good about them again now? To a certain extent, yes. But when you're the 5th seed and you're playing the 8th seed in a conference semifinal to get to the final and potentially get to the NBA Finals, you can't lose to an 8th seed.
No, but they did.
They did. That's exactly what happened.
I know, but, hey, the Knicks were once an 8th seed in 1999. They went to the finals.
So what? You can't let it happen.
They were a hot team.
They're
the Knicks
supposed to be better than this.
Back
in February, I think it was, when we said the Knicks, nobody wanted to face that Knicks team.
That's
because
true.
they were playing and they were winning. They won 11 in a row or whatever it was, and that team was devastating. And I don't know where that team went because they vanished.
They did, but you know what, brother? There's nothing. I was happy the Knicks made the second round, so I can't really complain. I didn't think they would. I wasn't sure.
I thought they would beat the Bucks. Or I'm sorry, I thought they would beat the Cavaliers. I don't know too many people who didn't think they would beat the Cavaliers.
Well, they also played very well against the Cavaliers.
They did, but the Cavaliers aren't as good of a team as the Heat. And I know the old Coach Parcells axiom, you are what your record says you are. The Heat are better than an 8 seed. They're better than what their record was. Right. Because they missed a lot of games with injuries this season, and it was an issue for them. But where'd that Knicks team go from February? Where was that team? I never saw. I saw Jalen Brunson trying to will a team to victory until he made an ill-advised pass with about 15 seconds left in the game. He tried to jam the ball inside. He was dribbling. Josh Hart was open at the top of the key. Yes, it's a three-pointer. I know you hate the three-pointer, brother. He was open. There was nobody within 10 feet of him. I will take that shot all day. But Brunson tried to get the ball inside. I don't know if it was Randall or whoever, but it was somebody under the basket. The pass got cut off, the hand in the way, and the Heat got the ball. And that was the game. That was the season right there. Well, but I'm not going to sit here and fault Jalen Brunson because he did everything. The guy was superhuman in this game. 41 points. You can't. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, Jalen Brunson screwed up the season." Jalen Brunson was the only reason the season was still going.
Right.
So
but he's the new leader. Sometimes leaders are anointed, and he's now been anointed.
He anointed himself.
Well, that's what happens.
And I'll tell you what, I like Thibodeau. I want Thibodeau to be the coach. But if the Knicks decide that, hey, we want a new voice, Monty Williams is out there. Former Knick Monty Williams. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind having him as the coach. Good coach. I can't believe the Suns let him go. That was stupid.
I agree with that, but I still say you have to keep Thibodeau.
I like Tibbs. If the Knicks were more in the market for a coach, I would say hire Monty Williams today. But I don't know why you get away from Tibbs unless players in their exit interviews start griping about Thibodeau, like the Rangers were griping about Gerard Gallant, and that's why Gallant got fired.
Right, and years ago the Islanders, complained about Laviolette. So
right, and so if they discover in the exit interviews, which should be going on today, as a matter of fact, or today, tomorrow.
What do they talk about the exit?
They just how the season went. What do you think? What are you doing for the off season? What? Sometimes they ask for suggestions on what you would do, how you'd make the team better. Different day-to-day kind of things. It's like they talk about everything. They talk because that's where you find out your business model and what's going on with the franchise. Because a lot of times players don't feel like they can talk to somebody about a gripe they might have.
Isn't that why you go to the press off the record?
Some people do. I personally, yes, I think that's what they should do. But I think my opinion is in the minority as far as all that goes. But that's where you find out kind of where your team is. And if, like I said, if some players say, hey, I thought Tibbs did this wrong, and I think he did this wrong, and I think he's kind of lost the room. Well, then his whole situation might be reevaluated. But I think Tibbs has done a great job. I got no problems with the guy. I think that when the Knicks bought into his system and really bought in and played the kind of defense that he demands, I think that was some of their best basketball of the season. And obviously, like I said, Randall getting hurt was a blow for their postseason because you need him healthy. But he hasn't been good for the couple of times the Knicks have been in the playoffs when Randall's been part of the team. He hasn't been good in the playoffs. He's good in the regular season because in the regular season you get space. And Randall, he's got the ball and he's kind of playing point forward a bit and he can do things with it. If he's not shooting, but I thought this year he kind of relied on the 3-pointer a little bit too much. I think he needs to try to get inside more. But as players get older, they tend to go away from the basket as opposed to towards the basket,
right?
Because there's less contact away from the basket.
Yeah, but the 3-pointer. I know I say it a lot, brother. It's just turned into this really bad shot.
Well, it depends on who's shooting it, brother. I mean, that's
the thing. It used to be you had to be really good to get it. Now anyone can get it. Remember when Patrick Ewing used to take 3-pointers, and sometimes he would take it. No, he took more than he should have. He should have taken none.
Well, because he was one of the guys I'm talking about. As far as when you get older, you go away from the basket. Here's 7-foot Patrick Ewing taking 3-pointers and taking jump shots. It's like, why is he doing this? He's 7 feet tall. You know why? Because his knees hurt.
Right,
and his shoulders hurt, and he didn't want to go underneath the basket, and he didn't want to do that banging because his body hurt.
I know, but but it gets to the point where he'd get like 1 out of 4 or 5 now. But now everyone takes them. Everyone's on
like I've said, bro. If you can shoot 33% from 3-point range, it's the same as shooting 50% from 2-point range. It is. You can't deny it. It's exactly the same.
I don't know, man.
If you go 4 for 8 from 3-point range, or I'm sorry, if you go 3 for 9 from 3-point range, that's 9 points.
Right.
If you go 4 for 8 from 2-point range, that's 8 points. So, what's the difference?
Well, if you go under the basket more and do it quicker, by passing, then you don't have the outside shots with 2 seconds left in the 24.
Well, that's
the part that
I'm gonna throw some names at you here, brother. Because there's already rumors going around as far as who the Knicks might trade for, who might be available. Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota is a possibility. I think that would be a bad idea because Karl Anthony Towns and Thibodeau have history. It's not good history. They butted heads when Tibbs coached Karl Anthony Towns several years back. I don't know why the Knicks would revisit that unless you had a conversation with Towns before any deal was made and he swears that he's going to buy into the system and he's not going to make waves. Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers is another name. He's out there. The Portland is said to want to unload and maybe do a rebuild, and Lillard still has value. The Knicks certainly could trade either Barrett or Randall and a couple of number ones and get Damian Lillard back from. And the only question I have there is how well would Lillard and Brunson be able to coexist in a backcourt? Because they both need the ball.
Right.
And would it turn into the second coming of Clyde and Earl, or would it be, would it just be a disaster because both of these guys need the ball and there's only one ball? My personal, I would love to see it happen, is Luka Doncic says to Dallas, trade me. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm tired of the rebuild, and here's Kyrie coming in and getting a max deal because they're going to have to give him a max deal if they want to keep him. So Luka says, you know what, it's Kyrie's team now. I'm out of here. Get me out of here. And then the Knicks just package whatever it takes. I don't care what it takes. You give me any player on the roster, as far as I'm concerned, except Brunson, because I don't think they can trade him anyway with his contract. He signed as a free agent last year. I don't think they can trade him this offseason. But and Dallas wouldn't want him anyway if they re-sign Kyrie anyway. But if I'm the Knicks, I trade whatever I have to trade. If that means Barrett, whoever, Obi Toppin, and I trade anybody on the roster plus at least 3 number ones. Get me Luka Doncic. If he is at all available,
3 number ones.
If he is, and they have them to trade. The Knicks have stockpiled first-round picks. The Knicks, put it this way, the Knicks are one of the best situated teams that if Luka Doncic becomes available, the Knicks will be one of the favorites to get him. Because number one, it's New York. Number two, the Knicks have the assets. Finally, the Knicks have the assets.
Well, it's also,
instead of burning them in all kinds of bad trades.
I also think that part of what's going on with the Knicks is that players might want to play in New York now, where they didn't for a long time. So I think that's important.
Doncic also you have to remember, he and Brunson were teammates.
Right.
So that would be. I think the only other team that would have a shot to get him would be the Nuggets because of Jokic. I can't even imagine Jokic and Doncic together. That would just be scary. It would be scary. Kevin Durant would desperately want to play with that team.
Right. Well,
but if the Knicks could land Luka, like move heaven and earth, whatever you have to do, if he is available, do it. I don't care what it is. Not like that idiot Danny Ainge who wanted 5 number 1 picks for Donovan Mitchell, 5 number 1 picks plus young players. No, Danny Ainge, you're an idiot. Danny Ainge finally got what he wanted from Cleveland. Good for him. But no, I'm not the guy who's going to give it to you.
No.
So, but if it's Doncic, yes, whatever it takes. He's one of the 3 best players in the league. I don't care if he wasn't the MVP. You put him on a good team. That's why he wasn't in the MVP conversation, because he's not on a good team. But he's one of the 3 best players in the league.
Well, it certainly helps playing on a good team to get the MVP. Anything else about the Knicks, brother?
Jimmy Butler, brother.
Jimmy Butler.
Guy was 7 for 22 in Game 6, but he still led his team to victory. So he didn't shoot well, obviously, but he had 24 points. So he got it done because he got to the line. So 7 for 22 turned into 24 points because he was 10 for 11 from the line. So he was making things happen, not like R.J. Barrett and not like Julius Randle.
Right.
Because they were just sitting outside taking jumpers and missing and hearing the clank of the rim.
As Walt Frazier would say, it's a free throw.
Kenny Reeves said that too, bro.
Yeah, so.
But the Barrett and Randall, 4 for 24 combined. That's 16%, 16.7%.
Not good. Not what you want. Horrible.
Just a terrible.
And like I said, it would have been nice if the Celtics played the Knicks, for rivalry issues, but it did not happen. But maybe next year, brother. If
the 76ers choked. I mean, let's not forget that.
Yeah, but the Celtics, I think, are more expected to win, even when they're not the best team in the league.
They're the higher seed. Again, it gets back to seed. But those are 2 very good teams. Yeah. But I wanted to point this out, brother. And like if anybody wants to discuss this, Feel free to give us a call at
516-572-7440.
Feel free to cut right in there, brother. But I looked at that Celtics series and I watched those games. James Harden's done. The Nets were fortunate to get rid of him when they did, because the only way that Philly keeps James Harden is if they give him a monster deal. And they gave him a big contract last year, and he actually could have made more money. There was that whole collusion thing, because James Harden apparently took less money so they could sign other players. I don't know why that's a collusion thing, but it was. But if you're a GM, are you going to give James Harden something in the neighborhood of $50 million? Because that's what it's going to take. It's either that or you release him. And if you release him, you get nothing back for him. So, those are your options.
But maybe, brother, that's the best thing to do. You don't get anything back. Okay.
Well, but then you're depleting your roster, because you need to get talent back.
It depends on the salary cap.
But
if it doesn't affect you.
James Harden he's done.
Well, you know what, Tim? Let's go back to when the Nets made that trade. We were like, well, was that a really good trade?
That wasn't this year. That was last year.
But we're talking about last year.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things. Everyone's, you shouldn't do that because he's one of the best players. You know what? The Nets made the playoffs this year. You know, they played pretty well, even though they lost. They played pretty well. And I think next year they're going to be a much better team.
I agree.
So,
and I think I have hopes that Sean Marks will be able to get at least one good free agent and bring somebody in who sees that the Nets roster has some young pieces and it is a youthful and developing roster. But you can't tell me that and as much as the Nets were just excoriated when they made these trades and people were ripping them left and right, how can you trade these guys? Durant is like he's closing in on 35 now or whatever, 34, 30. He's going to be old in a hurry because his body has so much mileage on it. Kyrie Irving, to me, the aggravation will never be equal to the talent. Or I'm sorry, the talent will never be equal to the aggravation. I said that backwards. Because it's not worth all of the distraction and all of the he is, to me, he's almost the Donald Trump of the NBA, because you never know what stupid thing he's going to say next, and what controversy he's just going to decide to start today. I don't want that on my team. I don't want it. I don't want to all of a sudden, hey, tomorrow's Friday. Let's see what bomb Kyrie is going to drop and torpedo our season.
That's a good point.
James Harden, when they traded him and they got the whole Ben Simmons thing, and I'll tell you what, if Sean Marks can find somebody to take Ben Simmons, he for me, he wins Executive of the Year before the season even starts. But if he can get somebody to take Ben Simmons and get anything of value back, I make the trade in a heartbeat. I don't even think about it. And he's probably going to have to give up a number one pick or do something else, because I don't think anybody's going to take Ben Simmons straight up. But you're going to have to give up an asset to get rid of him, but get him out.
Yeah.
But those are three, like the big three for the Nets. I don't have a problem with any of them leaving now.
No, it turned out to be a very smart, well thought out plan, even though it wasn't thought out. It was just sort of random, I guess. But
the players made it happen. They drove that whole situation. I mean, Harden wanted out because I he's kind of hinted at things as far as I think it was Kyrie was Harden's reason why he wanted out, and I don't think that Harden thought they could coexist. The only one to me who still I could say in 3 years will still be a good player is Kyrie.
Yeah.
But again, the drama and all of the outside influence kind of stuff. I don't want that on my team.
No,
it's not worth it.
You want a player who's there to play, not complain all the time.
Exactly.
And we should say that I mentioned the Devils, and yes, they are out of the playoffs, eliminated by the Hurricanes in 6.
Hurricanes are good, bro.
Yeah,
good.
I think they're going to win.
It's a good club.
I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
I think they got a very good shot.
Yeah, so
out in the West, there's some craziness going on. The Vegas Golden Knights are getting back in the Western Conference Finals.
I don't like them.
Why?
They shouldn't have won the Stanley Cup the first year. That's just bothered me. Even though the Islanders on their third year went to the semifinals, but I don't know.
It's this is it's not your father's expansion in the NHL, brother.
No, it's not. And I'm sure Gary Bettman was all happy. Oh, look, our new Golden Knights team. It just shows the wide talent we have here in the
Not
NHL.
the California Golden Seals.
I'd buy a T-shirt that had that if you can find it.
You could find one, brother.
I know, but it's going to cost $35 because they have those. I don't know who puts them together because the league owns the logos.
I'm sure there's some financial.
I hope there is.
compensation
Sometimes there is. I want to get a Long Island Ducks one. There's two versions of it. One that says Ducks across like the Rangers, and then there's another one where there's a thin duck with skates and a hockey stick, and it says Long Island Ducks.
Hopefully the duck is wearing pants, not like Donald Duck.
I don't know. Donald Duck, well, Winnie the Pooh doesn't wear pants either, brother.
It's the same thing.
He's very comfortable though. He doesn't, Christopher Robin doesn't say anything.
He's got some freedom. But then Donald Duck and Winnie the Pooh, when they come out of the shower, they wrap a towel around themselves. But they never wear pants. I don't understand that.
I don't know, brother. They just feel a little shy, I guess. Anyway, we're going to take a break. You're listening to 90.3 WHPC. From the press box, he's Tim Leonard. I'm Rob Leonard. Give us a call, 516-572-7440.
It's Big Ed inviting you to join me Mondays from 10 till noon for the Good Gold Show. We've got the greatest hits of all time, all your faves of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. A whole lot of fun, and we'll keep you informed. Plus, we'll take your requests and your dedications.
Playing favorites.
So join me Mondays from 10 till noon for Good Gold on 90.3 WHPC, available on the Odyssey, iHeart, and WHPC apps.
Saturday Night Fever, polyester suits, the Brady Bunch, bell-bottom jeans, and the music of the 70s.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me.
Join me, Ron Stevens, on the radio, Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. for 2 hours of the decade of Elton John, the Eagles, and disco. The Super 70s, the 70s at 7, Saturday mornings on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Shake off the realities of the day, broaden your musical horizons, and embrace the diversity every Monday afternoon at 5 for 2 hours of Revelations. The show offers a potently unique collection of music with an emphasis on themes and rock rarities, an occasional tour de force of blues and soul, mixed with compelling sets of folk and folk rock. I'm Steve Kay, and I've got the perfect soundtrack for your drive home every Monday afternoon at 5. On Revelations, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome back to From the Press Box. Here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., 516-572-7440. My name is Rob Leonard. My brother Tim and I talk sports every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Please call us. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, brother. Now, finally, the Yankees are playing well. Am I right?
They're playing pretty well.
So
I mean, have they won 5 out of 7? Yes, they have. But 3 of those wins were against the Oakland Athletics, who are by far the worst team in baseball. If the Yankees don't sweep the Athletics, then there's something wrong.
Right.
It's like the Mets not sweeping the Nationals. Oops, wait a minute.
They didn't.
Yikes. But that's how bad the Athletics are. They're the bad news bears. They really are. They're terrible.
You might want to bring up. This is when you switch leagues, like in the soccer
relegation.
Yeah, relegation.
Yes. The Athletics would certainly be relegation bound.
Buffalo Bisons would be a good
Well, somebody. I don't know. You can't just pick a team because you know their name.
The Syracuse Mets, which I hate that they call the Mets.
Well, most of the Syracuse team, I think, is going to be up this season. There's
At one point or
already
another.
here's what I don't get about the Mets. I'm just going to take a little tangent here for a moment, brother, while we're talking about the Yankees. But Met fans are already screaming,
including our friend Rob Tuck.
Bring up Mark Vientos. Bring up Ronnie Mauricio. Your owner just paid almost $400 million for players. But they're screaming for minor leaguers.
Yeah, well,
because almost nobody on his team can hit.
Well, that tells you a lot, brother.
Lindor has RBIs, but his batting average is somewhere in the 220 range. Pete Alonso's hitting home runs. I don't know how much else he's doing, but yeah, he's hitting home runs, but he's the only one basically hitting home runs.
Yep.
But where are you putting these two guys?
Nowhere.
Mauricio and Vientos.
Nowhere.
They got to play. If you're going to bring them up, they got to play.
Yeah.
So are you putting Vientos at third base because that's where he plays? So now you're sitting Brett Beatty. So if you bring up Vientos, you got to send Beatty down because he's got to get at bats. If you bring up Mauricio, he's basically a middle infielder. Right. Or can you stick him in the outfield somewhere? I don't know how much outfield he's played in the minor league. I think he's played some, but I wouldn't call him an outfielder.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at the batting averages right now. Lindor, 223. Alonso, 232. Nimmo, 320.
Yeah, Nimmo's the only one hitting.
Jeff McNeil, 264. Sterling Marte, 235.
Terrible.
Mark Canha.
Oh, he's been awful.
236.
I'm surprised it's that high. I thought he was in the 190s.
Yeah, he's not doing very well. It's a bad.
He had a good game yesterday. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but these guys be all 20 points higher at least at this moment.
But the Mets right now can't hit. They've been shut out 7 times already.
You can't do that.
I mean, how many games have they played?
41.
7 shutouts. That's 18% of their games.
Yep.
Shutouts.
And
if you get shut out, you're losing, bro.
Lindor, even though he's batting 223, 31 RBIs.
Yeah, he's got RBIs. He's driving in runs.
Alonso is 13 home runs.
And how many RBIs?
31, tied with Lindor.
All right. So Pete, I don't care about Pete's batting average because he's never going to hit more than 260 anyway. But he's got to hit home runs and drive in runs. That's all they pay him for. I don't want him hitting 200, but he'll wind up. By the time the season's over, he'll wind up at 250, 260. He'll be in that range.
Yeah.
So him, I'm not worried about. Because if he's got home runs and he's got RBIs,
that's all you
fine.
need.
That's all.
We're very happy.
Give me 40 dongs and 110 RBIs.
And he's good on the field. So.
And no, he's not good in the field. But that's he's a power bat in the middle of the lineup. He's a classic cleanup hitter.
I mean, he's not Dave Kingman, you know.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why he's got to hit more than 200. But as long as he's in the 250 range, then he's giving me everything I expected from him. But there's almost nobody else on that team who is. Francisco Lindor batting 230 or whatever you just said is god awful. That's a guy he should be one of the best hitters in the league, not just average wise. He is supposed to be a guy who is going to bat at least 280, who's going to give you home runs, RBIs, on base. He is supposed to be one of the better hitters in baseball. That's why you gave him that 13-year contract or however many years it was, because you want that bat around for the rest of his career. Yeah. This is not the bat the Mets are paying $30-some million a year for.
Not even close. The Mets are in third place, actually tied for third with the Marlins.
That's horrible.
It is horrible.
Marlins are awful.
But they're only 6 games behind the Braves.
By the way, the Marlins brother brought up Yuri Perez the other day.
Okay.
He is either 19 or 20 years old, 6'8", throws gas. And yes, he is a Schwami.
Oh, no,
this kid is he's believe me when I say this, 20 years old. Within 3 years, he is a Cy Young candidate.
We should say, for those who don't know, the Schwamis are Timmy's fantasy baseball team.
He is the goods.
So
he was a top 12 prospect in all of baseball.
I don't know how all that works. That's
you know how Francisco Alvarez was the number, like one of the top 3 prospects when they brought him up. This kid Perez was right behind him.
Okay, let's talk about the Yankees. They're finally.
Wait! I want to talk one thing about the Mets.
Well, then let's talk about the finish up on the Mets, and then we'll go.
All right, that's fine. Saturday,
horrible.
Mets and the
Horrible.
Nationals.
Horrible.
They're playing in the rain.
Yep.
And I'm watching the game, and I'm like, what are the umpires doing? Why? I mean, it's, you know how you watch TV, and it always looks like it's raining harder than it actually is.
Yes.
This time it was. It was raining. And you could actually see the field getting wet. And the umps, I still have no idea why. We're just, oh, yeah, go ahead. We're going to play. We're going to play.
Well, I would like to know if anything comes from the home office on this, because maybe they don't like to do regames. They don't do redos or next day thing, which is what they end up doing anyway, for many reasons. But a lot of it's TV money and stuff.
But you're supposed to check the weather, and they have. I mean, I'm not going to say they have like a weatherman, like
They
Lee
do.
Goldberg isn't sitting there in the ballpark and saying, "All right, this is what we have." But you have people on staff who should know enough about the weather to say, "Hey, we're going to have a window where we can play where it's not going to be raining."
The technology has gotten to the point where you can literally say, "Okay, it's going to rain for 40 minutes here,"
Right,
and then 20
or
minutes
close
later.
close enough to that.
No, you're right.
And they kept playing through pouring rain. The field got soaking wet. The umpires finally said, "Hey, we got to cover the field because this is crazy. We got to,
Right,
right.
right.
And they should have done it at least a half an hour before they did." But then they covered the field. There was a delay. I don't even remember how long the delay was, but it was fairly significant. They finally get to the point where they can take the tarp off the field, and then what you see under the tarp are puddles.
Sure.
Because you put the tarp over puddles.
Right.
The tarp doesn't dry the field.
Of course not.
It keeps it from getting wet.
Right.
So here comes Buck Showalter. Here comes the Nationals manager. I don't even know who it is right now. And they start talking, and they're like, "We can't play on this. Look at this field. It's crap. Somebody's going to get hurt." And then the umpires say, "You're right." And then the fans who have been there for probably almost 4 hours by then, listen to the PA announcer say today's game has been suspended and will be completed tomorrow. If I'm a fan, I'm infuriated. I had to spend money getting to the stadium. I had to pay for parking. I more than likely paid for something to eat.
Yeah.
I sat through rain and miserable weather that I shouldn't have had to sit through. And then 4 hours later, you tell me, "Oh, go home. None of this mattered." Are you kidding?
And I wonder if they made him come back for the next day game, which was Mother's Day.
I have to assume that the Nationals. I don't even know this, but if they didn't do it, it's a crime. I assume that the Nationals will tell whoever was at that game who has a ticket stub, come back anytime, show your ticket stub, you get in for free. Because
I would hope
that is some of the worst run game management I've seen in years, maybe decades. They could not have handled any of it worse. And think about, this is the other thing you have to think about. How many people from New York, because I know a lot of Yankee fans go to Baltimore.
Oh, sure.
How many Met fans went down to D.C.?
We should have went down.
Well, I'm glad we didn't.
I'm glad too.
I wouldn't want to sit through the rain, and I would have been wanting to jump
have
onto the field and beat an umpire.
We
off
have
or
cousins who like the Nationals now.
Yeah, Cousin Kev.
Cousin Kev, he gave up on the. Well, he never liked the Orioles. So.
No, he doesn't want to give that guy any money. But that was one of my first thoughts was, hey, I hope Cousin Kev's not at this game.
Speaking of Cousin Kev, he must be happy that the Commanders have been sold.
Yes. Well, we were going to talk about that.
$6 billion.
We're going to talk about that in a little while.
Well, I'm just saying.
We got that coming up.
Anyway, so the Mets have not been playing well, but they're only 6 games behind the Braves. So
I got 5.
Really?
Check the standings. 20-21 the Mets are, but they're under 500. They have almost $400 million payroll, and they're under 500.
They're 20-21.
Yeah.
Braves are 25-15. So.
Oh, the Mets are 6 games. All right. That's what I was saying. The Braves still lead the division by 5 games because the Phillies are in second place.
Yes, Phillies are in second.
So, and the Braves have lost 4 in a row.
But the Phillies are only in by half game.
Yeah, but the Braves have lost 4 in a row, and they're still 5 games in first place.
Yeah,
they're the only decent team in that division right now. 25-15, I think they were.
25-15.
Yeah. So, the rest of the team, they're all playing 500 ball these days.
You can't win the division with 500 ball. A couple of years ago you could, but not with the Braves now.
Not anymore. Braves got a very good and still fairly young team. The Phillies have signed some good free agents. I'm waiting for Trey Turner to actually start getting going, and Bryce Harper just came back, so and started a fight yesterday. So
get him going, brother.
yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. But so I don't know. The Mets, the pitching hasn't been good. David Peterson is pretty much showing that he might not be a major league pitcher. Scherzer finally had a good start yesterday, but he hasn't been very good this year. Kodai Senga had a bad start finally, but he's been probably their best pitcher so far. The guy who they got from Japan, who they gave an awful lot of money to, but so far it's been worth it.
Yep.
So the Mets, Quintana, who they signed in the offseason, they haven't gotten anything from him because he's hurt. He's like the Mets version of Carlos Rodon, but they need pitching, and the bullpen is showing some cracks. You know who I like in the bullpen, who is a nameless guy but could wind up having a role, is Drew Smith. He's pitched well.
Well, the Mets need a wake up call. I don't worry about the teams unless they're playing really bad until June, and we're in May right now.
You and I both know Met fans are some of the most reactionary people in the world, and they love to panic. The sky is falling every day for the Met fans.
We did not have the best ownership,
but you know what? It's May. Just relax.
I know.
Relax.
I like Uncle Stevie. I feel comfortable, and he's building that stadium. Is he going to own that stadium, or is it NYCFC?
NYCFC.
They're going to own it?
Yeah, of course they will.
But I thought he was buying.
Cohen own it.
I thought he was buying all the land up.
I don't know that much about it, but it's going to be there.
I thought
it's going to be the soccer team stadium.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was going to be this whole thing that he is part of because
he might wind up being part of it. I don't know, but he wants to build a casino. I think he's more concerned with the casino.
Well, he wants the casino there. That's where he wants it.
Well, he wants it in the park. They want to give him parkland.
So, I don't know where you put it though.
Well, they'll find space. Believe me.
Flushing Meadows.
They'll find space.
Maybe the skating rink, is that still there? I don't even know. I used to drive by it. I think it was there.
There's a lot of stuff over there, brother.
Anyway, brother, the Yankees.
The Yankees.
The Yankees are no longer in last place.
How about that?
In the AL East.
Positive, brother. Positive. All about good news, bad news with the Yankees.
AL East still the best division in baseball. There's not one team under 500. And even the Red Sox, even though they're in
last place, Red Sox.
But they are at 537 percentage. So, but the Tampa Bay Rays,
they're very good.
They're very good right
team.
now.
But you know what, brother?
31-11.
You know what? The Yankees showed over the weekend that Tampa Bay can be had, and apparently the strength of that team has been their bullpen in recent seasons. The Yankees beat the hell out of their bullpen. Just beat them up. They just kept scoring runs. The Tampa Bay bullpen was inept, and the Yankees shelled them. So, I mean, the Yankees were not even 5 feet from tying the game yesterday. Aaron Judge hit a blast in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs.
Right.
And the pitcher, I think the guy's name, what's his name? Adam, I think his last name is, dropped his head. And you could see him say, oh, crap, as soon as Judge hit the ball. And their center fielder goes back, and he's mid-warning track. He's not even on the tip of the warning track. He's mid-warning track where he's a step or two from the wall and like 390-something away from home plate. And he catches the ball, game over. And the Rays pitcher saw Judge rounding first, and he kind of started laughing, and you could see, because he was making some crazy faces. But you could say, he said that he must have said something to Judge along the lines of, I thought you got me.
I think it was Jason Adam.
Jason Adam, that's his name. But he the way he dropped his head, he thought Judge just hit a home run. He thought Judge just tied the game, and he probably should have missed it by the fraction of an inch. That ball should have been out of the stadium. In fact, I would love to know how many stadiums it would have been out of, because Yankee Stadium, that's a deep part of Yankee Stadium.
Sure.
So, unlucky for the Yankees. They wound up losing yesterday. What was it, 8-7, I think it was. They had 2 comeback wins against the Rays bullpen, where it was 6-5, and on Friday, and then there was Anthony Rizzo Mandalorian bobblehead doll night, and then it was 9-8 on Saturday when they came back from a 6-0 deficit against one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. So, and that's on the bullpen because Judge hit 2 home runs on Saturday. Volpe had another. Anthony Volpe's got 3 home runs in his last 5 games. And I don't even know if that's how they dropped him from Boone. Aaron Boone, the manager, dropped him from 1st to 7th in the lineup. And Volpe all of a sudden started hitting home runs. I don't know that they want him hitting so many home runs because he's got some power. He hit 20 home runs in a minor league season.
You take him, brother.
But you don't want young hitters starting to swing for home runs because then your batting average just you go up there and you're just selling out for power. You don't want young hitters doing that. But the Yankees are creeping up. The American League East is kind of tightly packed except for the Rays. But again, once the Rays start playing, the Rays, they started their season with the Tigers, the Athletics, and the Nationals. Yeah, of course you're going to win like probably 11 out of 12 of those games, or they won all 12 or 13. I forget how many in a row they won to start the season. But it was ridiculous. But their schedule was a joke. It was like, here, go play these 3 AA teams, and let's see how many games you can win. Well, the Yankees took 3 from the Athletics. They haven't played the other teams yet.
Yeah, but you know what? You take those games. You have to.
Of course. And I said it.
Matter of fact, you're supposed to.
I said it I had said it months ago or last month.
Like the Mets should have beat up on the Nationals.
Yeah, but I said it last month while it was all going on that when you play those games and you have to win those games, and I gave the Rays credit for winning them because they did what they were supposed to do. But the Yankees just played the Athletics and they won 3 games, and you don't see it the way you see it when you start the season with 13 wins in a row.
Yeah.
The Yankees they've won 5 of their last 7 games. I'll take that all day. Give me 5-2 every 7 games. I'm a very happy man because I'll win the division by 20-something games.
Right.
But that, I'm still waiting for the schedule to catch up to the Rays. But don't get me wrong, the Rays are a good team. They hit a lot of home runs. They're a team with a lot of power. You might not know a lot of the names, but they hit home runs. And they have better than average pitching. So they're not going away. But I refuse to believe that they're 10 games better than the rest of the division because they're not. So we'll see what happens when they have to go on a West Coast road trip, for example. When they wind up playing a lot of divisional games. Yankees have Toronto tonight. They're starting a series with the Blue Jays. Let's see the Rays start playing the Blue Jays and the Orioles and even the Red Sox. The Red Sox are better than I think people expected. But this is what I want to see is the schedule to even things up a little bit.
Well,
so that's going to happen. It always.
But you know something,
games.
brother. Baltimore Orioles are only 3 games behind.
They're good.
Or 4 games.
They're good, bro. I told you this. Like I said, just said about Yuri Perez. 3 years, brother. I told you this about the Orioles 3-4 years ago.
I know that,
This
bro.
is a good team.
You
they
did say that.
drafted well. They have good young players. The Richmond kid at catcher, Gunnar Henderson at third base. And they have more coming up. They have good elite pitchers who are on the verge of the major leagues. So, yeah, the Orioles are going to be around for a while. They're going to be in the mix anyway. I don't know what they're going to win because I don't know what ownership is going to spend on free agents to augment what they have and what they've developed. And that would be of the model of the 1996, 98, 2000 Yankees if they do it right because they have a lot of good young. They have themselves a core 4 type of minor league stars coming up. And 2 or 3 of them are already there.
Right.
So, this is a team that if they get the right guys in free agency, they could be very much a contender, if not not just for the division, but for the whole enchilada.
Okay.
So, but we'll see if they're willing to spend the money. I don't know if they are.
How can you not? If your team is
the owner's cheap.
I know that, but you think that even if he's cheap. He can price it. Well, look, we're actually doing well.
If the owner, let's put it this way, if the owner's only motivation is making money, then he's not going to put out that $200 million contract to sign. Like, you know who the Orioles really would love to have or could really use is somebody like Juan Soto, because not only would he give them a middle of the lineup bat for a still very young player, he'd cost $300 million plus,
right?
But it would also be a knife in the back for the Nationals because Juan Soto was a National, and the ownership groups for both of those teams hate each other. Because the Nationals are mad because they have to keep paying TV rights to the Orioles because the Orioles had exclusive rights to that market, and they let the Nationals move in, but they made such a deal to basically gouge the Nationals out of money. But if the Orioles signed Juan Soto, that would be the ultimate. I can't even say the word, but it would be the ultimate move.
Well, I think if you. I know Masson is the channel that they.
Yeah, let's not get into all of that. Though.
I know,
I'm just saying, as a guy who's going to be a free agent, the Padres haven't locked up Juan Soto yet, even after the trade last year. But he is a guy who, if they let him go to free agency, he's going to be the free agent this year, and he is somebody who, if I'm the Orioles, I would do whatever I needed to be done to sign that guy.
Well, I agree
because it's a power move. In the market, never mind in the game, but it's also in the market, and it would make Orioles fans have they would be able to flex on the national people.
Anyway, brother, just as a reminder, your WHPC weather forecast powered by Pantano's Gourmet in Hewlett, Uniondale, and Garden City Park, and now their newest location at 197 Atlantic Avenue in Freeport. This afternoon, wow, it's going to be high about 72 degrees. Tonight, it goes down only to 62 degrees. And tomorrow, get this, brother, tomorrow, a high of 71. But it's going to be cloudy all day tomorrow.
It's all right.
Currently outside at Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC, it is 67 degrees. Coming up next at 10 o'clock, Big Ed with the fine show we call Good Goals.
Good Goals.
So just keep it tuned here to WHPC. Ed should be walking in any second now.
Yes.
Might as well read this also, brother.
All right, well, while you find an ad, brother, I just very quickly want to mention that the NBA Draft Lottery will be Tuesday at 8 p.m. This is to see who gets Victor Wembanyama.
How do you say his name?
Wembanyama.
Thank you.
Yes. 7'5", allegedly has skills like a point guard.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine how much of a freak this guy is. Who was the favorite? But I had the thing up before you changed it.
I did.
It's Houston. I think it's Houston, Detroit, and San Antonio have the best odds of landing the number one pick. And this kid is undoubtedly a generational talent. But I wouldn't mind seeing him go to San Antonio and give Coach Popovich one last chance at glory.
Well,
and I think it would also be best for the kid. I think having Pop as his coach would be that's the guy you want.
Well, we'll see what happens. By the way, brother, don't forget about Alternative to What? Tuesdays at 7 p.m. playing the best in alternative music from the 90s to today. Listen for artists like Nirvana, Weezer, the Gin Blossoms, White Stripes, and more. Alternative to What? Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC. Anyway, brother, what about Ja Morant?
I am so baffled by Ja Morant because he was suspended 8 games earlier in the season.
Right.
Because he flashed a gun on some Instagram post, and it was the NBA doesn't want their star players flashing guns for any reason. And when he finally came back, he told the media, "I've got to be better with my decision making. I just need more discipline. This is not who I am, and I'm determined to show everybody who I really am." Well, then over the weekend, an Instagram Live comes up, and there's Ja with a gun. First of all, this kid is costing himself so much money. We're talking potentially 9 figures.
Right.
I mean, that's how much he's costing himself. The NBA, I guarantee you, is going to suspend him for at least 20 games next season. because everything he said after his initial suspension, and they didn't want to suspend him for the first one.
Of course not.
But he made it sound like he was having some mental issues, not being able to handle fame so well. He went for counseling, and he did everything that people said you need to do this, except getting the lowlifes and the garbage out of his life.
Adam Silver should have said, "Come to my house, live with me for 3 months." That's what he should say.
That's not going to happen.
But that's what he should do, because, Moran sounds like he has maybe the wrong friends.
Well, apparently the guy whose Instagram account this Instagram Live thing was posted on was somebody who was banned from the league from hanging out with the Grizzlies and their players because of an incident that happened with another team.
Right.
So why is John Morant hanging out with this guy? I mean, if the NBA is telling this guy, "Hey, we don't want you near our players. Get lost." That should be the clue number one for John Morant. Hey, this is the guy who's for me.
And what type of friend, and we use that in quotes, would put you up on
Instagram Live?
Instagram Live when you know
while
it's
you're holding a gun.
While you're holding a gun, and you know it's going to cause problems.
And thirdly,
that's the question.
Thirdly, why does John Morant need a gun? He's not a badass. He's not some thug. Whatever. I mean, he doesn't need a gun.
I know.
The only person that John Morant is going to shoot with a gun is himself. Like what's his name? The receiver, Plaxico Burress.
Right.
That he doesn't. There's no reason for him to have a weapon.
Nope.
None. And I don't know if it's the same gun as he had in the last social media thing, or if it's a different gun. But John Morant, first thing he needs to do is get rid of whatever guns he has. Just either turn them in, sell them. I don't care what you do with them. Get rid of them.
Melt them.
Bring them to the local precinct and say, "Here, take these.
Yep.
I don't need them." But
I agree.
It's a mess. And like I said, this kid, he's probably blown $100 million minimum.
And one more thing before we leave, brother. Jerry Hart passed last week.
Tell people who that is, brother.
He played for the Islanders. He was on the original 72 team till 79. He did not win a Stanley Cup, which I was sad about when I forgot, because I'd forgotten about it. I thought he played the first year. He did the thing, what we used to call the Jerry Hart move.
Jerry Hart slide.
The Jerry Hart slide, where he would block shots with his legs, but he'd be on the ground. And it always worked. I mean, he did a lot of people. Not many people do it as much.
Well, nowadays, guys block shots all the time. It's expected of defensemen and forwards. Jerry Hart back then was one of the few guys who he would fully commit to blocking shots, and he was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a whole lot of fun for him getting hit by pucks like that, but he was fun to watch because he would frustrate opposing players because they would try to shoot and they would hit him in the legs, and I don't know. It was unusual to see back then. He went
to, after the Islanders 78-79, he played for the Nordiques.
Yes.
Which I believe was the technically a WHA draft thing. So that's where he was. Which I felt better for him, because here's a guy who, was on that team, and the next year they win the Stanley Cup.
Don't feel bad for anybody still playing in the NHL, brother.
Well, I don't. Anyway, that just about does it, brother. My name is Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This show will become a podcast later on. Coming up next, they call him Big Ed for many reasons. You should listen. Good Gold coming up next, right here on 90.3 WHPC. I'm Rob Leonard. Take care and bye-bye.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.